Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Yasinta Anwar. I am English Education student 2016, Faculty Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang. This video is made for the requirements of my final project for my degree of Sarjana Pendidikan in English. So, my final project is under the title An Analysis of Indonesian Students' Problems in Pronouncing Non-Existing Vowels of English. My final project consists of 5 chapters. The first chapter is Introduction. In Introduction, we have background of the study, reasons for choosing the topic, statement of the problems, objectives of the study. As we know, in the globalization era today, English is one of the most important languages that so many people all over the world use English as the second language. How to pronounce English sounds correctly is one of the problems faced by Indonesian students. According to Shafi'i, he stated that pronunciation is crucial because if non-native speakers have a terrible pronunciation, they would not be able to communicate verbally. For several learners, producing English sounds, especially English diphthong sounds, is difficult. Roach stated that a diphthong is indeed a move or glide through one vowel to another. Several Indonesian students find it difficult to understand certain English sounds since they do not recognize that sounds in their language, and then they haven't not been taught how to pronounce it. So why this research chose this topic? Because the researcher thinks that the proper pronunciation and the proficiency of English pronunciation is a major aspect of a language ability for a foreign language learners. If some student couldn't communicate well because of one mistake in pronunciation, it may cause different meanings. Then, based on the research experience while doing teaching and practice in SMK Negeri 2 Salatiga, the research indicate that there were so many students made mistakes while producing some English sounds, especially those containing diphthong sounds. So this research is aimed to find out, to describe how well the students pronounce the English diphthong sounds which do not exist in Bahasa Indonesia, and then to find out the kinds of error are mostly found in students' pronunciation of English diphthong sounds which do not exist in Bahasa Indonesia. The next chapter of this research is chapter 2. It is about review of the related literature. We have a review of the previous study, theoretical studies, and then theoretical framework. Here, there is a mention for previous studies. The first one is from Al-Zayat 2017 in his research entitled Non-Native Pronunciation of English, Problem and Solutions. Al-Zayat mentioned that the more differences sounds between the two languages, the more errors will occur. And then Ahmed 2017 in his research entitled Difficulties Encountered by EFL Students in Learning Pronunciation, he stated that the most students were unable to communicate to pronounce some sounds that do not exist in their native language. Then Shak Chang and Steven 2016 in their research entitled Pronunciation Problems, they state that the participants made mistakes as their sounds were unfamiliar and they faced problems when they asked to pronounce some sounds. And then Donald 2016 in his research entitled Indonesian Student Difficulties in Pronouncing English Diphthongs, Donald stated that the students' native language affects how they pronounce English sounds. Then in the theoretical studies and theoretical framework, here the researcher got some theories about the pronunciation theory from Kilakjani, Mujito, Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary, Jones and Ramlan. Then about pronunciation problems from Ramlan and Mujito, about English diphthong from Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary, Ramlan, Jones and Roach. And then the theory about error and mistake from Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionaries, Brown, Ellis, Crystal, Jing, Xiaodong and Yu. The next chapter is about research methodology. In the research methodology, we have research design, research participants, the object of the study, the rules of the researcher, instruments, the procedures for collecting data, and then the procedures for analyzing data. So the researcher chooses a descriptive qualitative method in this research depending on the process and the purposes. While the participants of this studies are the 11th grade of SMK Negeri 2 Salatiga, there are 35 students in their class. And then the object of this study are the Indonesian students' problems in pronouncing the English vowel sounds. There are e, uwe, a, and eu, which do not exist in Bahasa Indonesia. So here, the researcher has three roles. They are as the data collector, data analyst, and then the reporter. In the instruments, the researcher used three instruments. The first one in speaking test, and then interview, then audio recording. In the speaking test, is it to measure to the student's ability in pronunciation in English diphthong sounds. The test consists of 50 words that the student must be pronounced by individual. And then in the interview, the researcher provides some questions related to their background and then their knowledge about English diphthong sounds and also their difficulties in pronunciation, while the researcher recorded their pronunciation and then their response of the interview. Next is about the procedure for collecting data. The first one is doing a speaking test, and then the second one is doing interviews. In the speaking test, the researcher provide 50 English words that containing English diphthong sounds, and then the participants are asked to pronounce it individually, and their pronunciation are recorded. And then after that, the researcher make a phonetic transcription, then compare with the correct transcription based on the Oxford Learners Dictionary, and then the researcher count the error made by the students. Then in the doing interviews, the researcher provide 10 questions related to their background, their knowledge of the English diphthong sounds, and then their difficulties in pronunciation. Well, after that, the students' response are recorded, and the researcher make a transcription of interviews. Then after that, the procedure for analyzing data. Here, the researcher follows some steps. The first one is identifying the types of error. So the researcher compares the student's transcription with the correct transcription based on Oxford Learners Dictionary. Then after that, the researcher describes and classify the types of error which occurred and also make a table of students' error and then count the percentage, which contains of the total numbers of error produced by the students. Then the researcher used criterion based on the Tinambunan criterions, which is used to know how well the students pronounce the English diphthong sounds. And then the researcher interviewed the students who had to be recorded. Then the researcher played and listened in it attentively to the audio. After that, the researcher only took relevant information about this research and then reduce some irrelevant information. Then the last step is drawing the conclusion. So that's all for my chapter 1 until chapter 3. Then we move to chapter 4. It is about the finding and the discussions. So we can see in the table in the students' errors in pronouncing English diphthong here, there was 68% errors that in the students' pronunciation, and then in the omission errors of sounds here, the highest percentage was in the word career, which the percentage was 94%, and then the lowest percentage was in the word mere, with the percentage was 34%. Then in the students' error in pronouncing diphthong uwe, there was 81% of students' errors, and then in the omissions errors, the highest percentage was in the word cure, with the percentage was 100%, and then the lowest percentage was in the word cruel, with the percentage was 2%. Then in the students pronouncing diphthong a, there was only 40% errors, and then in the omission errors, the highest percentage was in the word take with 80%, and then the lowest percentage was in the word wait in the 11%. Then the fourth sound was in the sounds A, which the percentage of error was 73%. And then the highest percentage in the omission error was in the word care, with the percentage of error was 68%, while the lowest percentage in the word fair, with the percentage of error 8%. Then the last sounds is in the sounds O, which is the percentage of error was 79%. In the omission errors of sound O, the highest percentage was in the word bold, with the percentage of error was 92%, and then the lowest percentage was in the word snow, with the percentage of error was 31%. Then in the student interview, then in the comparison between correct and incorrect percentage, there is a got that the average percentage of incorrect numbers and in the pronunciation is bigger than the correct one. So we can see in the table that the average of incorrect numbers in pronunciation test is 69%. Then after that, there is also classify the student's ability in pronunciation. We can see in the table that one of participant is excellent in the pronunciation test, and then 4 students are good, 17 students are fair, and then 13 students are poor in the pronunciation test. Then for the responses of the students in the interview, there is a that all of the students come from Java, so they are use English. They are not use English is in their daily life. They use Javanese language and Indonesian language. So they are also not familiar with English diphthong sounds. They say that unfamiliarity of English diphthong sounds cause difficulties. So based on the table above, we can conclude that the highest percentage of the students' error in pronouncing English diphthong sounds was 81%, which is in the sounds ue. It was categorized as poor, while the percentage of errors in the pronouncing diphthong sounds e, and o, they were categorized as fair, with each percentage was 68%, 73%, and then 79%. Then the lowest percentage of the student errors in pronouncing English diphthong A was 40%, which categorized as good. Based on the correlation between the correct and incorrect percentage of pronunciation, the average percentage of incorrect numbers is bigger than the correct one. Then the average of incorrect numbers in pronunciation test is 69%. Based on the Tinambunan criterion, the 11th grade students of SMK Negeri 2 Salatiga are considered fair in pronunciation test. Well, based on the Tinambunan criterions too, there is a score that only 1 student is excellent in the pronunciation test, then 4 students are good in the pronunciation test, 17 students are fair in the pronunciation test, and then 13 students are poor in the pronunciation test. Then about kind of errors are mostly found in this research. So there is a score that a lot of students are omitted English diphthong sounds by the pure vowel sounds. There was 1,750 of the total numbers of students transcript in utterance, and there were only 549 words pronounced by the students following the transcript. There were 1,007 of the total transcript where the students made omissions errors, and then 194 of the total transcript of the students made substitution errors. So it means that the kinds of error are mostly found in this research was omission errors. According to the result of the interview, the causes of the errors were unfamiliarity of knowing English diphthong sounds, so the sounds of English appeared to pronounce with the closest Indonesian sounds. That's all for my chapter 4. Then now we move into the last chapter. It is about the conclusions and suggestions. So after the researcher analyzed the data, the researcher got that the students are considered fair in the pronunciation of the English diphthong sounds. with the total average numbers in incorrect was 69%. While the highest percentage of the student errors in the pronouncing English diphthong sounds was 81%, which in the sounds then it was categorized as poor. While in the percentage of pronouncing English diphthongs ear, and o, they were categorized as fair, with the each percentage was 68%, 73%, and then 79%. While the lowest percentage was in the sounds a, was categorized as good, with the percentage of error was 40%. And then based on the finding above, there were 1007 of the total transcript where the students made omissions errors. Here, the researcher also suggests some suggestions for the students, for the teachers, and then for the next researcher. So for the student, the researcher suggests that the student need to learn how to pronounce English sounds correctly. So the students can ask the teacher at the school, and then also they can learn independently by using YouTube, for example, listening English sounds, playing online game, for example, etc. And then for the teacher must be faithful to master whatever methods are appropriate for providing the materials to the students, and provide the materials equally between writing, reading, speaking, and listening. Then for the next researchers, the researcher suggests that the next researcher can conduct a study that analyzes the various sounds that do not exist in Indonesians, like palato-alveolar sounds, gentle fricative sounds with the unique dialect, for example. So that's all for my presentations. Thank you for attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.